You are number one. Got it. Boom. So happy Monday. This is our Monday night accountability call. Created my beta website. Woo! What do you mean by beta website? Is that something you're making up? Like, why would you say beta instead of my website? I don't understand that one, but okay. Okay. Would you like to explain?
Yeah, so beta is, the like I'm not fully done with everything. It's beta. You always start with beta. You start with alpha. That's the idea. Beta is getting it out there. And then my website. TikTok.
Okay, well, congratulations to, am I sharing the screen?
No, woman.
Okay, good. Because it looks to me like, and I'm like, I don't want to share it yet. All right, so here we go. This is tonight's video. It's kind of, all right, let's start it like right here.
No sound.
What she said about me one time. I sound like an old.
No sounds?
It just kicked in. Then you cut it out. It's gone again.
It's very, very low.
Better?
I had diabetes, fatty liver, neuropathy. I was scared to death of Alzheimer's. I've run in my family, and it's sometimes called type 3 diabetes. I'm now a crap addict, that's CRAP, and a recovering binge eater. According to the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual, or DSM, food addictions don't exist, but anyone who has one knows they do. For most of 30 years, I was morbidly obese. At my heaviest, I was close to 300 pounds. I kept a belt just to remind me how big I was. I don't usually wear it, but this is it. I've lost a few pounds since then, without surgery or without any weight loss medication. For the past 6+ years, my blood glucose levels, or A1C, have been between 4.8 and 5.2. That is almost perfect. I'm really not trying to brag. I just want to give somebody hope. Well, not the whole story. Food cravings, destructive food cravings, come from 4 primary sources. Number 1 is food insecurity. I'm not talking about not getting enough food to eat. I am talking about not getting enough of the essential nutrients. As long as your mind and body do not get all the nutrients they need, you will be food insecure. As long as you are food insecure, you will crave food. Even if you were to eat a gallon of macaroni and cheese every day, even if you were to eat 2 gallons of macaroni and cheese every single day, if that's all you ate, you would be food insecure. I actually had a college roommate who tried that. It didn't work out too well for him. He ended up becoming really sick. He ended up having to have vitamin shots to regain his health. He was actually lucky. It could have been much worse. For some, it is. Some of you may be on a similar path. According to the World Health Organization, and perhaps for the first time in history, there are now more people in the world who are malnourished and obese than malnourished and underweight. Let me repeat that. There are now more people in the world who are malnourished and obese than malnourished and underweight. Some believe it's too expensive to eat healthy. That is a myth for most. It is cheaper to eat healthy and be healthy, even on food stamps, if you know how. Many can even eat more than they usually eat and still lose weight if they eat the right foods. The best solution is to eat a well-balanced, healthy diet every single day. Number 2, crap. If you eat crap, you will crave crap, period. Also, if you eat crap, you are going to feel like crap. If not today, eventually. If you live long enough, there is simply no getting around the law of the harvest. Most of you have a pretty good idea what crap is. The best solution is to avoid crap. I know that may sound a little bit harsh, but remember, I'm a recovering crap addict. Think about it this way, and this is a question. How much alcohol can a recovering alcoholic safely consume? How much? None. Exactly. Number 3, emotional distress. First, a story. Last summer, my then 3-year-old granddaughter and 2 of my grandsons were on a trip with me. We were returning one of my grandsons to his mother. My granddaughter was wearing a sequin dress. She decided it would be a good idea to remove a sequin and stick it up her nose. Okay, how many of us have stuck something up our nose and gotten it stuck there? Is that it? I did when I was a kid. It was on the weekend, and it was a hassle for my parents to find somebody to take it out. Well, I tried to remove the sequin from my granddaughter's nose, but I couldn't even see it. When we got back to town, we went to the doctor. The receptionist, of course, asked us why we were there. I said, somebody stuck a sequin up their nose. The receptionist smiled and said, now who did that? My granddaughter beamed with delight and patted herself on the chest, sorry about that, and said, me. The receptionist and I laughed. When we got in to see the doctor, she was able to locate the sequin, but she wasn't able to remove it either. She referred us to an ENT. She then offered my granddaughter a sucker. Sometimes when children are in distress, we give them comfort food, and usually it's crap. As we grow older, sometimes when we're in distress, we seek comfort in food. And usually it's what? Crap. Even if it's healthy, we eat way too much, and it only makes the situation worse. Okay, another question. How many of you have eaten a whole carton of ice cream or a whole box of donuts or a whole bag of cookies after a breakup? Okay, the best solution is to learn to manage stress in healthy ways and seek appropriate help for trauma. Number 4, habitual response to cues and triggers. They are everywhere. Businesses and organizations have become quite expert at using smells, images, and social pressure to separate us from our money. Some of these cues and triggers almost compel some of us to eat. Though difficult, change is possible for almost anyone. The human is the only animal that can planfully and purposefully reprogram how we respond to cues and triggers. It's not easy, but it is possible. I've done it. I've helped other people do it. The best solution is to avoid difficult cues and triggers. However, that's impossible most of the time. The National Diabetes Prevention Program and other programs and resources may also help. One last tip for anybody who may be a binge eater. As with almost any addiction, it is more difficult to make healthy decisions when you're tired or stressed. How many of you have heard an old commercial that says, "Bet you can't eat just one"? Well, when I'm tired or stressed, I can't eat just one of anything. Because of that, I rarely eat after 5 p.m. That strategy has helped me immensely for years. Perhaps something similar may help some of you. Remember, you do not have to be a slave to cravings. There is help and there is hope. You can't choose to love yourself more fully. You can choose to live life more fully. You can choose your own personal optimal health, whatever that is. Thank you.
All righty, Carl. First.
I'm John Burke. My job is to teach people how to peel peels, which, as it turns out, is actually pretty.
So I'm gonna turn this over here. write in the chat if we each can write in different triggers, because that's where this whole addiction thing comes from. I'm changing it to my Bluetooth. Don't worry. I know you're like, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Triggers, because after the triggers, that
Start to eat crazily. Anyone disagree, agree? Like to hear your thoughts on that? Danya, you go first. You agree, disagree
Agreed, disagree. I'm sorry, it cut out.
with the video? Do you agree, disagree?
Oh, yeah, agree.
Any thoughts on it? How we said you eat more crap, you want more crap?
Yes, for sure. It's like, if I can stay away from sugar, it's hard, but I can usually, like, I'm better for it. But it's like, once I have something that's super sugary, I want more sugary stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a video I put in the chat because I was searching for different videos, and that other one that's in the chat's a lot longer than this. It's really good. But today's meeting, the topic and the idea was triggered because a few people around me are just not healthy and not doing too well. And one of my clients told me this morning, she said her assistant wasn't in, and she said she was going to call the police to do a wellness check. And they went there and found her unconscious and dead. And the wildest thing is, when she sent me this original message, I said, hope she's okay, because a lot of people die on Mondays, the stress of having to go back to work, of being upset and all this stuff. And then I just think of like a lot of my friends that are the exact same age as me, on high blood pressure medication, on diabetes medication, and all this stuff that can be avoided. And when I was talking to my client, it just triggered me even more, because it's like, no matter what I said, there was an excuse from, well, I got to take my kids to school. Well, I have to do this for my husband. And it's just excuse. And I'm like, I know there can be a better way. So I like this video here. I see where Chris put boredom. I like that. Ashley said argument. Someone said business of the day. I guess that's like busy at work. I put like a breakup. I know, so for some people, anyone else want to write in the chat what we're writing in the chat right now are triggers that will trigger you to just eat. And it's, we always talk about that 4-hour window to not have anything. And for some reason, it's just a lot of what we've been taught over the years, because I know years ago they were like, eat every 2 to 3 to 4 hours. And now we know how important it is to have that fast in our system. An argument. Yes, I hear you. Hi, Auntie, how are you? I just showed a video. We're talking about triggers. I see Aisha there. Chris, I'm going to let you chat about the topic some before we get into everyone else. What are your thoughts on the video? What would you like to add to it? Period pain. Oh, yes, definitely. That'll make you eat.
I love that video, and I'm going to even to steer away from triggers and stuff. What he said was so true. Everybody is living on cheap processed junk, and they're all malnourished. You could be 100 pounds overweight and be super malnourished and ridden with disease. And that's our society. And it's just so sad. So my advice is to stick to whole foods as much as possible. If it comes on a box and it has a label.
Chris, you're doing it. I was going to say,
What?
People hear that, they're like, what you're doing. Sorry.
Yeah. If it has
I was going to say, explain Whole Foods, but you're doing
Yeah.
it. Sorry.
So Whole Foods are just like, pick up the food and hold it. It can be a package of ground beef, and that does have a label, but things that don't come in a box, like Fruity Pebbles. Did you catch that, Tina? No, something that you can eat, and it's going to be healthier that way. The food industry has such a way of tricking our brains into craving. So going back to that craving and binge eating, and Lay's always has had that saying, I bet you can't eat just one. Those were actually designed purposely so you cannot eat just one potato chip. I live down the street from 2 food processing plants that are full of engineers that are creating taste and flavors that once you taste these flavors, that you will keep craving them. So that's why I say go to the Whole Foods. They can't do that to an apple. They can't do that to an orange. They can't do that to celery. But anything that comes in a box, guys, it's buyer beware.
In
And
the-
I put in there my trigger was boredom. If I get bored, which I don't do really, but that just gives me like, oh, I think I'll just fill my time with munching on something. So I loved what all you guys were saying about the different triggers that you have, because they're all great triggers. One of mine was, I talked about this before, just getting in the car after work and having a piece of dark chocolate because it was a habit. Like, oh, I got done with work, dark chocolate's good for me. I can have this habit right now, but it doesn't fall into my wait for hours eating plan. So I did cut it out, but I'll be driving around different places and it'll trigger dark chocolate in my head. So our minds are amazing. So I'd love to hear other people's shares on what their triggers are.
Yes, yes. I want to tap into what you just said regarding the triggers. And I'm gonna continue to say this every single day. If you feel anything, or even if you don't feel anything, just make sure you go to the doctor. I was on Facebook today and I saw a friend of mine, and I remember we were both fat at the same time, but he was extra fat. He was like over 300 pounds. And now you look at him, he's in bodybuilding competitions. He eats super clean. Everything is like perfect with him. And on Facebook, he showed a picture that he had a heart attack. And when I say like the best health, they said his arteries were completely blocked, but his blood pressure was low. Like everything was normal. He said he didn't know what, they're still checking to see what's wrong. But the point is, when I saw this, I'm like, wow, this guy, he's the one who taught me how to drink just water when I go out to eat. He's taught me like all these little things. He gets up at 4 o'clock every morning, goes to the gym for 2 hours. And I'm like, if this person could have a heart attack, imagine, someone that's really not doing anything. And then secondly, just really changing something about yourself. Like when the guy said, in the video, I think he said 5 o'clock, he stops eating. Was that what he said? Something like that, he knows to stop eating. You have to make little rules for yourself. So what are some things we can do once we're triggered to change our mind? Let's start with that right there. For me, honestly, it depends. Go ahead, Chris. You're muted.
I was trying to say, do you?
Oh, yes. So when I'm triggered, I know we say mindset. And the one thing I want us all to think of today is acceptance. And the conference that I went to this weekend, I actually got put on, I don't want to say I got put on blast, but just really accepting certain things. For example, the person who spoke, his name is Adam Smith, phenomenal guy. I just love the aspect. And he said, in life, people are asked a question and they like beat around the bush to get to the answer. And he was talking about money at first. And he went to this one guy and he says, well, how much money do you have saved? What do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, I'm just starting a business. He's like, I didn't ask you that question. I asked you, how much money do you have? And the guy kept humming and hawing. And the guy finally says, I have $4,000 saved. And then he kind of got to the point of it. And then he's like, where's Stars Tina? And he looks for me. And he's like, are you where you want to be in your fitness level? And I said, no. And he said, why? And I said, well, because that's not the question. And then he said, what are your numbers? Because you have to know your numbers, right? And then he's saying how in life, women think they can't say their numbers, and it's going on. He's like, what's your numbers? This is a room of like 75 people. I'm like, you want me to tell you how much I read? In front of everybody. So I'm like, put on blast. And he's like, yes, what's the big deal? And he keeps talking on some more. And I'm like, 578. He's like, that's not the question. They were screaming at me. And I'm like, well, it depends on the day. It could be 179, 182, and that right there, along with another woman talking about once you finally accept where you are, and yes, I can blame my heart. I can blame my blood. I can blame my son. And at the end of the day, when you talk about when it comes to triggers, Chris, that's why I think I'm not completely where I am with my health and wellness, because when I get those emotional triggers, a part of me says, you know what? It's okay. You're doing better than other people. You're not as fat as you used to be. You're not as fat as the other person. And I have to realize I can't do that for me, because I'm not where I want to be. Everyone else can say, you look fine. But in my mind, I don't. So moving forward, because I can't say in the past, because in the past, I'd be like, I'm fine, and I'll just eat the half a pizza and say, so I can't do that if I want to be where want to be in my fitness, you know? Because this weekend, I can't tell you, I felt just how I felt. I felt like a whale. And you see that girl right there, Melody? She's 4'11". Okay. She's 4'11". We had our little sparkly jackets on, and my goal was to be comfortable. I wanted to be comfortable. I took some leggings. I bought my black and white Elite Stars workout shirt, and I was going to wear my sparkly jacket. Everyone else had on these cute little coochie skirts, and they're like, you can't wear that, Tina. I'm like, I didn't even bring heels. I didn't bring that. Melody, 4'11". I got a dress for you. And then it's like a strapless dress. And then Dale, she's not in there. She's like, I got a skirt you can put on, because I was like, and then such gave me and I was just like, I hated the way I felt because I wasn't used to feeling that way. My point is, I have accepted it now. And I'm moving forward. And sometimes you have to get in that place. So for me, when the triggers come, and again, the most trigger for me is just when I start feeling sad about my son, is I just don't care and I get into this ball. Hi, Mindy. Mindy was there too. So I'm just gonna just tap into what my son would want. And as my daughter would say, he's not gonna want you looking like a piggy. You know, my kids do that to me all the time. They're like, hey, piggy. My daughter actually sent me a picture of a pig licking its tongue or something the other day. She's like, go for a walk. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna think about my son when I get into these triggery moments. Anyone else wanna hop into what they're gonna do when they get triggered? I wanna hear. Go for it.
This is Crystal.
Go ahead.
I talk myself, sometimes I have to talk myself down. Like when you're having a moment, you just start talking to yourself and go, okay, all right, now we said we had a goal. Like, so you're gonna say you're gonna do this. Is this really, it's like that pizza strawberry shortcake I told you about the other day, Easter. I said, you know what? I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna enjoy it. And that's just gonna be it. But then there are times that when I feel like I'm having a trigger, like the thing I told you went on this weekend, I went for a walk. I started talking myself down out of it. If I'm home and I can go get in the tub and turn all the lights out and just let Cal go and kidnap me for a little while. Be like, yo, but I find ways to put me to calm the situation only has as much energy as I allow it to give. And when I allowed it to fester, it got bigger and it went from this situation to this situation. And so it's like, I mean, to where it was like almost the size of the universe situation. But then it was like, okay, you know what? This is dumb. I know what I can do. Me and the people involved kind of started calming down, talking down. And then when I came home, even though I was only home for a little bit, I got in the tub, turned off all the lights. I had some of the white noise playing, but I put myself in a situation to calm me down and to talk myself down, going, we're not, this is, when I became some person, we jokingly say, I told her I have an evil twin named Chrissy. And when that chick got loose, I was a whole nother person. So I had to talk. You don't want to be around Chrissy. You don't want to see me out. My son even said, Chrissy's a demon. Yes, she is. So when I went into Chrissy mode, I had to flip myself back. But then it was like, let me calm myself down. Let me do something to take myself out of it, not talk about it, calm myself down. You can go for a walk, but I actually came home and I got in the tub and just put myself in the dark with some soft music and just let myself just relax. And that kind of helped me. But if I'm in a quick running thing and I see something that I want to do that's going to take me, I'm still going to go, do you really need that? Stop playing. And I'll just have a conversation with me.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley said she looks at her phone, a picture of me holding my vision board. And also reach out to us. Sometimes someone will say something to me and I'll just send them a picture of like a big person. Chris, you were going to say something.
I wanted to add on to what Crystal was saying. That's awesome, Crystal. I hope I never meet that other person.
I know, I said the same thing. I was like,
anyway, it's basically when we're binge eating or when we're doing that, it's self-sabotage, guys. We are self-sabotaging ourselves. So I want us all just to sit quiet for a second, and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to visualize yourself in that beautiful outfit that you want to fit into. That stunning outfit. You might have heels on, or you might have like the tightest fitting yoga pants with a really sleek sports bra. I don't know what you've got on, but you are just rocking this. You are looking fit. You are looking like you want to look. I want you to smell the smells around you, that feeling of success, what it feels like when you are in that space where you are just looking gorgeous. You might have some special perfume on. You might have a special lotion on. You might be naked in a bathtub with all kinds of scented oils. But picture yourself wherever you can picture yourself. And I want you to create that image in detail. And I want you to savor that image and don't let it go. When you open that bag of potato chips or you go for that big box of stuff, you've got that image in your head. And I want you to pull it out. And I want you to look at it. And I want you to live with it. And also envision the first person you want to go and tell, hey, I got to my goal weight. Put that in there too. Experience that experience of you just shouting it from the rooftops. So you've got, like Crystal has that little Chrissy. Put this image of yourself in there and pull on it when you feel those cravings. Just stop for a minute, center yourself, and just picture yourself in your best version of yourself ever. So you can open your eyes.
Wow.
And I
Chris,
hope
was
that
good.
sticks with you, because when you go to binge, take just a couple minutes to do that, because that craving will go away in that amount of time. So
That is
that's
so
it.
true. Is it 60 seconds or 90 seconds, I think?
Something
Is
like that.
true, Chris? I heard
Yeah.
someone say it's like 90
Yeah.
seconds and that feeling would
So
go.
yeah, if
And
you guys want to
It's
write,
true, like there was a bag of potatoes.
yeah, I was going to say, write down that image, practice that image, go over it in your head as much as you can, so it's just right there when you need it, and it'll stay there. It'll be there when you need it.
That was good. That was good. Mindy or Danya, you guys want to go next? Thank you for coming in, Mindy and Aisha and Mommy. We can't hear you, Mindy, if you're talking. Okay. Are you going, Mindy?
Yes,
You okay? What's wrong?
accidentally signed up for Ramon's Celebrity CEO at the same time.
Oh, it was no accident. It was meant to be. I'm signed up for it too, but I listened to the replays.
Oh, you
And I
listen to
find
the
it much better. I
replays.
listen to it. Yeah, like I
okay.
started the January, like it's been going on since January.
Oh,
But right,
okay.
yeah, I can chat with you offline. I've been a part of it for about a month now. But I was gonna
Okay.
ask everyone in here if they want, but we can talk about it later.
Okay.
But what do you get triggers or how do you overcome those?
My triggers are really when I don't know how to do something.
What do you mean?
If I get a challenge that I don't know how to do, or if I get too many things on my plate, then those are my triggers to eat. And I feel like if I get an email and I don't know the answer to the question, that's a trigger. And it's a trigger, and I'm like,
I think you're thinking of
it's so
something to think
funny.
about. I think it's because you want to think about something. It's like you don't have the answer from the email. It's like, okay, let me just think about it while that's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. So I've been trying to be like, let me drink some water, because I think it's the action and
Movement.
also or the crunching, but I just broke a crown again. When I was in Dallas, I broke a crown. It was the almonds. I'm not supposed to eat almonds, and I know better. And that's why I was late too, because I went to the dentist to get it temporarily repaired. But so I need to find snacks that are not as hard as almonds and carrots, because I keep breaking this crown. I keep breaking crowns off my teeth like over and over.
Not cool. So I know there is, Chris, you might have a list of this, or maybe you can Google it while we're here. different swap out foods. Cause I know my person that was complaining to me, she was like, well, I want that salty taste. I want that crunchy taste. And, I was trying to give her some options, but it was just like, okay. So I get that. So a trigger when you're feeling this, like you said, water, go ahead, Chris. I saw you. So Mindy, for that trigger, what do you think you can do to overcome it?
Well, first being aware, having the awareness, being like, because I'll be like, oh my God, I really need chocolate. I really need like being like, wait, why do I really like, I'll check to see like, am I hungry? Or is that stress? Oh, it's because I just got that email. I don't know the answer. Okay. That's like ding, 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 ding.
That's good. That's good.
And then second, have water available. Like I always have I really like the mineral water. And I'm wondering if I drink too much of it because I drink it all the time. Or lemon water. Like I will like down lemon water, and then I'll just refill it back up again and drink some more lemon water. And then have something like I eat cashews, I eat pistachios because that's something crunchy that's softer, and it or phone a friend.
Phone a friend. I love that. Also, the video that I put in the chat, it's a lot longer than the one before. And the man was actually saying, he was talking about the brain and how obese people's brains work. And they did a science test in Harvard about rats and humans and food and sugar and crack. And the rats had a choice of crack or sugar, and they chose the sugar. And just saying how after a while, when you eat the sugar, your body gets used to it, and then you need more sugar to get that feeling, and your dopamine drops. And just listening to it was just like, okay, this makes sense. And I love what you said, Mindy, about just being aware and saying, okay, so I'm feeling anxious because I got this email, or I'm bored, that's why I'm eating, or Chris, that feeling there. So these are good for all of us. Who would like to go next with their triggers and how they can overcome? And if you need help with overcoming it, we can do that for you. Danya, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. So my triggers, sometimes it's just like having like finished breakfast or dinner, especially those are the two big ones. And I just want something sweet. So
are you talking about when you finish eating, or like a few hours later?
Like when I finish eating, or like maybe half an hour later, then I'll want something sweet. So what I've done, and not even like, I mean, obviously if I could like get like some kind of bread or like a donut or something, great. But I've been trying to change it to like berries, like the blueberries, or I've learned recently that I really like blackberries. So like having that, like it's sweet, but it's not bad for you. Or for dinner, like this week, I got I don't know how healthy they are, but the I can't remember the brand name, but they're like those fruit bars, and I like the coconut ones, and so I get those. I wish I could remember the brand.
Okay.
But
No, I was just going to talk about the sugar and the carbs. Chris, are you ready for a scream? So my client was so excited because she went to Pure something for a shake. She's like, I had a green shake today. Sugar, 52 grams of sugar. Carbs, 92 in one drink. And I was just like, and she didn't even know. So when we talk about sugar, it should be, I usually say under 10 grams. If it's more than that, swap it out. And Chris, you're the keto pro. I say at one serving, the most, because I know we're not like keto, but we're keeping our carbs low. Max I try to do is 20, 25. What are your thoughts on that for the carbs? What would you say?
Yeah, I keep mine under 20. Try to keep it under 20. Danae, this is, I have the same sweet tooth after I eat like salty stuff. I'm like the salty sweet person too. And you're doing the right thing. Eat the fruit. You might want to just have half a container of yogurt with some fruit in it to fill you up. And Tina and I were talking about a good yogurt would be that Too Good brand, the number 2, and then Good. It's got low sugar and not a ton of fat. It's keto ratio, but it's really high in fat. So I don't want to load you guys up on fat. So that Too Good yogurt, some berries in it. Throw some cinnamon in. It's good for anti-inflammatory and digestion. You can get the vanilla yogurt or whatever kind and sprinkle some cinnamon in it. But I often have that sweet tooth thing. There you go.
Too Good yogurt, and it tastes pretty good.
It is good. And
Okay,
there's
so
flavors. Yeah.
I found the bars that I was talking about.
Oh.
So for two of them, which I would only want to have one, but for 2 of them, the sugar is 16 and the carbs is 17. So cut in half, that's what, 8 and
Okay, that's
8.5.
What's the
It's
protein?
not horrible. It's not horrible.
Protein 3 grams, but that's again for 2, so more like 1.5. Calcium for 1 would be
We don't-
50. Potassium.
So the main
that
3
happy
ones is
stuff.
what we want, the sugar.
You
the
know,
protein.
one thing I've been doing too, because I said I have that same sugar thing. I'll have some pistachios, and for some reason, some cashews or pistachios will satisfy my little craving after dinner type of craving. Try that.
All right, Crystal. I mean, must be talking about Crystal. Danya, very proud of you. Anyone else want to share their thoughts
Thank
on
you.
their triggers and what they can do? Did we give you any suggestions, Crystal? I mean, Danya, for the sugar after your meal? Did we get a? Did we
No,
get-
I just gave my own, what I've been doing, my own substitutions.
And what
Well,
are
that's
some of your
what I was
triggers?
saying. That's what I was saying. Do the yogurt afterwards. You can throw some berries and some yogurt too.
Well, I mean, I it's not just that I'm eating berries because I'm like having like a full breakfast, but like on the end, I'm tacking on some berries.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I have that same taste craving. You can, like, if you go no carbs though for your first meal, that starts to go away. You don't need that sweet. You got to fight it a little bit. It happens more to me at night, I think, because I'm just a little more tired or something. But yeah, during the morning hours, or you could do a protein shake, which actually find a low sugar protein shake, have that with your meal. And there's those will satisfy your sweet tooth.
Cool.
And Tina's got some good ones, don't you? And we've got the keto Pro too. That's a real low calorie, low sugar one.
All right. I don't know if my mother's raising her hand or what. Melody, Ashley, Mommy, Aisha. Anyone want to go next with their triggers and what they can do to overcome them?
Yeah, so my trigger is arguing because I don't know how to do it. I cannot argue. I just don't like it. And so when I start arguing, it triggers me to do very unhealthy things like smoke a cigarette. I'm 2 years of not smoking a cigarette, right? 2 years. And just recently, like, there's been some tension in my house and at work, and it's been like, oh, I know I can just, I'm looking like, oh, I know I can just solve this with a cigarette. I know I can just be happy. Then I'll be okay. So what I've been doing lately now is drowning myself in my business. Like every time something triggers me, like if I like, Ashley, you blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? I have a 3D printer. I can go draw something and print it out on the 3D printer and look at it like this and just be happy. So, and then when I'm at work, since my 3D printer is not at work yet, I'll just go outside and sit in the green space that they've been talking about and just enjoy the outside air. So that's been my substitute.
I love it. I love the fact that you figured out what it is. Melanie, do you have any triggers and how you overcome them? If so, let's hear you.
I don't know how far I overcome them, but my trigger is sitting at this desk and busy. I always want to munch on something when I got a lot of things to do and a lot of clients and everything to deal with. I just want to sit and eat while I work, and I don't do that, normally unless I'm like really busy. So I haven't quite figured out how to curve those yet, because I want something right now, honestly.
Well, did you eat dinner yet?
No, not yet.
That's probably why. What are you having for dinner?
Maybe I'll do some tuna and salad or something like that.
Okay, so this is a tip I want to give for everyone, and for myself as well. As first, decide what type of meal prepping you want to do, because in order to make a change in your life, you're going to have to meal prep. You're going to have to. So the one way is on Sunday, you can cook for the entire week and have little containers of food. So all you have to do is pick up the food. That's one way you can do it. A second way you can do it is you can prep the food for the week. For example, you can have your chicken or your beef or your whatever ready to cook each day, or you can order food. I know they have like Hello Fresh or whatever those things are like that. That's another thing that you can do, but you have to decide what you want to do for your meal prepping. Because if you just wait and just like, okay, I'm hungry now, you're just going to grab anything. So what are some ideas you think you can do, Melanie, to help you prepare for the day for meal prepping? What's your style? What's best for you?
It makes a lot of sense, and I was thinking about that. I was thinking I need to take a trip to the store and get ready for meal prep. I like chicken breast and fruit, and I love berries. So I think I'm gonna have those available
You like
instead.
what?
Blueberries. I call them berries.
I love it. Anyone else want to share?
I got one.
Go for it.
So like for my infused water, I got mason jars, and each one of the mason jars, I cut up my fruit, whatever style I have, and then I put my water inside. So I got a question on that. So me and my husband, this is an argument that is not a trigger. I can take this one. When you do your infused water, do you cut your fruit up or do you not cut your fruit up? What is best?
How are you going to have the flavor if you don't cut it up?
My point exactly. You heard that, right?
You just put it in there. The juices aren't going to come out. Mommy, do you want to share? We're about to end. We're near the end. Mommy, I know you're on the cruise, and she said her Wi-Fi wasn't too good. So for today, the main takeaway that I want everyone to realize is acceptance, accepting where you are and what you want. Once you truly accept it and realize what you want, then you'll make better decisions. Instead of eating the whole bag of chips or instead of eating the whole cake, say, okay, there's cake here, I do want it, but just don't eat the whole thing and think about it. I loved the exercise Chris had us do today. And maybe, like she said, when you're thinking about that food, just close your eyes and picture yourself. When I first started my journey, I made sure in my phone, whenever I went on Instagram, was all fitness people. So all I saw was fitness people, because your mind sees certain things. And that's another thing in that first video. Watch that later. They say your mind sees these pictures of food. When you hear it, it's like, oh, you not only visualize it, but you feel it and you see. And then another thing is memories, like pancakes on a Sunday morning. My grandmother used to make those every Sunday, and it was like, who could eat the most pancakes? And I would win every time. But it was like, who can eat the most pancakes? She put 4 on the plate at a time, So just think about it. What is the trigger? Are you really hungry? Breathe for 6 seconds. Let the energy come through. And that was awesome, Chris. Chris, you want to add anything before we take our group photo and get out of here?
I kind of wanted to see what Miss Hattie's cruise looked like. Looks like she's talking to somebody though.
Yeah, I don't think she can hear us at all.
Yeah.
You know what we're going to talk about the spreadsheet, or did you already do that part?
Yeah. I can't hear her at all.
That's okay.
Yeah. All righty. Crystal, are we seeing your beautiful face, or we have your beautiful photo? We could take either one. Okay. Photo in 3, 2, hey, we got it. All righty, guys. See you at 6 o'clock tomorrow, 7 p.m. tomorrow night. Have a good night. See ya.